Alright, so that's time to switch the text. Start over here again. Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're looking at the Ubisoft E3 press conference and adding our commentary over it. Let's see what they have to say and what they have to show.
And I can promise you, it's more interesting than a keychain. Oh. Too soon, maybe? Too soon? I don't know, up in the balcony, are you guys ready?
They're just gonna do a little setup. There's been talk about them wanting, I think Aisha Taylor is her name.
If you're ready for the biggest gaming, biggest show in gaming, then let's
being the host, and if these two are on screen, that's not Aisha Taylor. So people immediately are disappointed because they liked the other host. Okay. Another thing that will happen is if they show the Raving Rabbids and Mario, which there might be a sequel for that they announced, I'm gonna have to drop from full screen because last year Nintendo quite illegally and unethically claimed they owned the copyright to a Ubisoft made game, and thus for an ad, which are not copyrightable at all for the trailer, and then claimed my video from last year to make money off of it. I have no idea what that is. Like, this would probably be about the third or fourth waste of money productions I've seen. We don't need dance and musical numbers, and I have no idea what these are supposed to represent. Are these different games or the same games? Is this some kind of weird Viva Pinata thing? I don't think so. This is insane. I guess maybe with Ubisoft safe from a Vivendi takeover, in part because of a minority share that Tencent took in Vivendi. Maybe they're just celebrating in general. Hey, we're not at risk of being hostilely taken over, so we can maybe now stop releasing a new game every year just so that every single quarter is profitable. Alright, so I guess this is Just Dance 2019. And I guess the idea here, it's been going for 3 minutes. The idea here is that you're gonna have a ridiculous amount of customization and characters. But this is just really wasting people's time. Like, frankly, if this goes a minute more, I'm gonna start scrolling to a different to do some other work. It's wasting my time. That was 5 minutes of random people dancing in bright, colorful colors. So now we can move on to something else. Thank goodness. If that's your big intro, they must not have much to show. Was No Man's Sky a Ubisoft product? I don't think Dead Space was a Ubisoft product.
Cook, do you hear me?
Roger, Uma.
Half the crew is dead drunk in my sick bay after eating your miraculous space chili.
Well, I have no idea what you mean. Our food is healthy. Invigorating.
Captain to crew, dead monkey in the crow's nest. I repeat, monkey down. Else space chili strikes again.
Copy that, Captain. Hey, Paige, bet we could use your space chili to overclock our engines.
Negativo, mi amor. Only you can melt my circuits.
Keep laughing, fools. The key ingredient to good cooking is love.
So the thing about Beyond Good and Evil 2 is it just does not look anything like the first game. They've taken way too long.
What have we got on the scanners?
They might as well have done a reboot. They might as well have called it something different.
Hey, wait. I see something. 3 o'clock starboard. It's massive. Get back here, Shani.
It's gonna be a new game from the producers of Beyond Good and Evil 1, and really have no connection to the first game at all. Doesn't even feel like it's in the same world. I mean, we're on a ice planet, so it doesn't feel like it's in the same universe or anything. We're not seeing any enemies from the first game or any characters from the first game. Another thing to mention is the mainstream video game press in general is super obsessed with Beyond Good and Evil. Like, overhyped and obsessed with it. It's should have been long since forgotten. It's a Duke Nukem Forever type game. See what? Jade. Oh yeah, it is Jade. So at the end there, we get a tie-in. The pig guy apparently is a character from the first game, and Jade is apparently the main character from the first game. So I'm not sure how many people who are hyped and obsessed with the Beyond Good and Evil are going to be happy with the protagonist of the first game turned into potentially the enemy.
Danger, and high-stakes drama. Last year, you all saw the enigmatic green-eyed Captain Dakini leading the legendary crew of the God on a quest to discover the location.
And I guess
and the
those
mystery
enemies that are behind
Deep Space
Jade are
artifact
probably the
known
enemies
as
from the
Moksha.
first game.
But the Kini has since gone missing. Shani is now captain of the Gada, and she's leading a crew into the deep.
This is another example of them letting people with too thick of an accent present.
Fans will have recognized a ferocious
We need a
young
nice
Jade.
flat, at least for a United States person like me. I need a nice flat
And Paige is back as the
American
incorrigible
accent
chief
or
cook
just
of the
no
Gala.
accent.
We've got
English
two other
is the
officers,
most used
Uma,
language,
the holistic
so
chief medic,
that makes the
and
most
Callum, our
sense.
chief engineer. And all of these legendary characters will be playing a major role in our prequel.
Yeah, I was about to
Today,
say,
we are proud to represent our growing production team
prequel?
in Montpellier, Barcelona, Bordeaux, and Sofia.
Did they
Thanks
just say it was a
everyone for
prequel?
making it happen.
How can the game be a prequel?
Thank you. Thank you for them.
Thank you. Thank you for them.
I guess if they go the prequel route, that gives them room to
You are space
remaster the
pirate
first
captain
game
in a distant
and
galaxy
just completely remake it.
near the end of the 24th century. At this year's E3, we will be showcasing a new behind closed doors demo, offering a first look at our major location, the sacred city of Ganesha.
We're still
Now,
not seeing
let's take a look
any
at our first
photography gameplay.
footage.
And the fight mechanic in the first game was stick fighting. It seems like they've evolved from stick fighting into sword fighting because we've seen two characters with swords.
Ganesha is a metropolis filled with sacred temples.
I hate when they do this.
and bustling
Zoom in the
shops.
camera so we can
But
actually
it's
see it.
also a darker underworld, rife with dirty bars and
They,
dangerous
oh my
back
god,
alleys.
goodness, they actually
Our
are
game
zooming in the
is an action
camera
adventure RPG
so we can
that
actually
should
see
play
it.
alone or with
Switch the
co-op.
camera source
From
to the
main
video
tutorial of a
feed
hidden
on the
temple
monitor
at the very edge of the galaxy,
so we can
fight on
actually
the
see it.
ground and in space at massively different scales. And all of this
Seriously.
They must have screwed it
What you'll
up.
be seeing at E3 this year is only a very small
That they
part
either
of a much
screwed it
larger
up
open
or this
universe we
video
are
looks
creating.
horrible.
A universe we are also building with our fans. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that footage,
with Beyond Good and Evil 2, we want
they didn't switch.
community to participate in a way that's
And
never
clearly
been
they
done
can
before
switch because they
through
just
the
switched to a
Space Monkey
different
program.
camera.
We want our fans and people all over the world to really be a part
Usually,
of
Ubisoft
the
is
game.
weird because,
So today,
particularly I follow
we are
Ubisoft
issuing an
Montreal's
open
office,
invitation
and they
for
post
people all over the
everything
world to contribute
in
their
both
ideas,
French and
music,
English as is
artworks,
required,
and
and
create original
I think in
content
Montreal.
that players will
So you get
experience as they
tweets,
explore the world
one
beyond
that
the
says something in
And
English
there's
and then another
literally
that
a
says the
universe
exact
of
same
ways
thing in
for
French.
artists to express themselves, from giant frescoes to murals, street art,
So,
music, radio content, and much
yeah,
more.
it's
To do this, we have partnered with a company at the
kind of a
forefront
weird
of community collaboration, Hit Record. And here,
issue.
to tell us more, is their founder, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Is this a... I think this is a famous guy.
This theater. So thanks to you guys. Thanks Guillaume. And
Thought he
thanks
was an
to Gabrielle.
actor.
It's really good to be
Has
here.
he gotten out of
I'm super excited to do
actor
this.
and
For
started
those of you
his
who
own
don't know,
business?
Hit Record is this thing that I've been making for a long, long time. It's really dear to me, and it's a place where people all over the world work together on short films or music or art, all kinds of projects. This is the first time we're making stuff that's.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
So it's a little
There
bit
was
different than other,
another
like,
one I had
creative
heard about that was just like
platforms,
this.
that you can find on the internet, because the point of Hit Record, it isn't just to post and promote stuff that you've made on your own. The point
It's like
is to
he's
collaborate.
trying to make
So,
a new
like, when we're making
YouTube,
music for Beyond Good and Evil 2,
but he's kind
it's
of
not just
funding
gonna
the
be a thing,
development.
like a contest where people submit songs and we
And
pick one or two of them and we put them in the game. We're going to be really making the songs together. And the same goes for the visual assets that we'll be creating. So whether you're a
Wow.
writer, a musician, an illustrator, if you're a pro-level artist,
What kind of
or if you're just someone who
BS
really
is
cares
that?
about Beyond Good and Evil and that
Okay,
world,
so if you wanted Beyond the Good and
there's
Evil
gonna be ways
2 to be good, you better find
our first creative
the best
challenges
artists,
are live
musicians, and
as of, like,
and
now,
other
since my
creatives
office
to make
pushed the button,
content
like, very
and put it on hit record. Otherwise, you're gonna see some MS Paint level troll BS.
And that's it. Go do that shit. Thanks.
This is a weird tie-in that almost certainly hit record paid Ubisoft to do. I doubt Ubisoft would do that, because if Ubisoft just wanted free art, why not just leave hit record out of it?
And we're incredibly happy to be working with Joseph and his team, and we really can't wait to see what the community creates. So let's do it.
We will be showcasing some of this content.
You've had years and years to see people's fan art
the BG Fest,
to either still or license.
Thanks everyone. Have a great E3.
Thank you.
So, in other words, they really didn't have anything besides that trailer. I was thinking after the Bethesda stream, maybe they should just have developers come out and talk about what they've been working on or what they most recently released, even if they have nothing new to say.
I'm here today to talk about our community.
Because most studios did something, whether they continued support on the release or were working on something. And maybe you don't even need a trailer, maybe you don't even need a screenshot, maybe you just have somebody talk about what they're doing instead of some of this BS elements.
That the Rainbow Six Siege community is now 35 million players.
So, Rainbow Six Siege.
I wish I could hug every single one of you, but I don't know if my arms are big enough to hug every single one of you. That would take a long time.
You don't know?
As you can see, as the community grows, so does the game. And as you can see behind me, Team Rainbow has recruited the Italian GIS operators.
So Rainbow Six Siege has been
this image
a
10 seasons,
effort to continue to use the Rainbow Six name without making any single player experience, or including Tom Clancy, or
which is playable right now.
So, in a weird way, Rainbow Six Siege is kind of this multiplayer game that could have been called anything. I don't think it's a very good multiplayer game anyways. It's just not varied enough in the gameplay modes.
And that's just one of the many ways to enjoy competitions for Rainbow Six. The 6th major is just around the corner and will be hosted in Paris this August. Our Pro League finals will then take us to Brazil in November. Yeah, Brazil. And then the 6th Invitational will once again be the pinnacle of Rainbow Six, taking place in Montreal in February 2019. Yeah.
Ubisoft is,
so,
I believe, a French company. That's why Vivendi is buying them. Or was trying to buy them, then not anymore. But they might be a Canadian company. All the companies are generically worldwide, but they started somewhere and have the feeling of something like that. I would say it's either a French-Canadian company or a French company. Let's see. 19 minutes in.
That is like the greatest injury to ever happen to me, only because it brought Siege to me.
It's a documentary about esports. Like, you want to talk about total BS that you could have done something better with. I think this video is certainly that. This is a very bad trend if we start seeing more and more game companies just pushing esports as the main focus at E3 or just in general. Yeah, it's a pretty bad trend. Esports are for the top 0.001% of players. And so you're trying to, much like how NFL is the top 0.01% of people who play football or can play football, you're really servicing the focus of a tiny niche of your audience and ignoring the rest of your audience. And it's the barrier to play football is only limited by your ability to physically play football, which is much higher than your ability to play a video game. Many people who can't play football are capable of playing video games. So the audience of people who aren't esports player is much higher than the audience of people who aren't in the NFL even. This guy is in so much padding. Padding to do a pratfall. But at least they showed him hit the ground.
With style and getting up again.
Half of the movies don't even bother to show people land on the ground because that's so much harder to shoot.
And also Prime Minister of Finland. Now I'm pleased to announce the trials is back and it's bigger than ever.
I don't think there's been a Trials knockoff game lately. So now probably would be the time to announce a new regular Trials. Never really liked the look of the Trials games though. They feel like they have too much grinding. I'd probably be alright playing a Trials game once if I can just muddle through it and finish the game and be done with it. But if I have to unlock stars or grind through a level, that's probably something I would need somebody to comment and tell me how does Trials unlock its levels. Can you play them all at the beginning, or do you have to actually get like a gold on the previous levels? That move that they just showed where you're like that move right there where you're adjusting the forward and the back and the shifting the weight of the motorcycles is something that I'm not really good at, and I don't think I'd be good at. So it's Trials Rising. It doesn't. That spray paint is really bad.
Trials Rising takes you around the world to iconic locations. You never ride alone, and competition is everywhere. But competition is nothing without the players, and our community.
They specifically wanted the live stream to see those people sweeping up that trash.
To explain more,
just to waste more time.
Brad Hill, also known as Professor Fat Sadie.
Because you could have pretty easily had a carpet, a mat, any kind of tarp down, and picked up that whole tarp in one move and left.
Well, thank you, Auntie, and
as the video was playing.
See, OTHD down the front. I see you. I became a fan of Trials because it's challenging, but so rewarding when you overcome something difficult.
I guess if my complaint against Don't Nods, developers being Canadian 25-year-olds making a game about a teenage girl, it's only fair to make us point out and make a slight complaint about these two pretty overweight guys making a game about riding BMXers.
Well, 5 years ago,
I'm sure they can ride BMXs, but I don't think they could do the tricks that you see in the game.
To design and create all of the tutorial content within the game. It has been an amazing experience for me, but I wasn't the only one involved. 20 community members, known as the Trials Elite, up there, have been involved in the development of this game for the last 2 years. Whether they were track builders,
have these people been paid,
each brought something special
or are they
to help
just
shape this game.
fans
Now, if you want to get
working
involved,
for free?
Register online at trialsgame.com for a closed beta happening later this year.
Well, you're certainly not going to be paid to be a beta tester. That is part of the problem with the closed betas and the open betas is you're literally just doing their beta testing for free, and that you're not. If you're in an open beta or a closed beta, you're not going to be able to put that on a resume and even get a job as a beta tester for real. Like, never undervalue yourself. Don't pay yourself nothing for your time. That's ridiculous. You would at least would get minimum wage flipping burgers. And so demand at least that much if you're going to be a beta tester.
Let's get out.
Let's go.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice E3.
Let's see what this is in the chat. Someone on the chat who goes by the name Kaka Gobo just posted an image, I believe, of himself getting 6 wins at Hearthstone. Congratulations. Better than I did so far. I half thought he was sending me a picture of himself naked or something. I'll be like, not now. I'm watching Trials Rising. Maybe later. I assume it's a he. Could be a she. This is probably the Division 2. 28 minutes into the stream.
My name is Julian Garrity, and I'm the creative director on Tom Clancy's The Division 2.
So yeah, they really use Tom Clancy.
On Black Friday, a strain of the smallpox virus was released on dollar bills
just as a way of selling new games.
The infection and chaos.
Although I would say the Division 2 probably is more based on something that's Tom Clancy-esque than Rainbow Six Siege is
tearing itself apart. Washington, D.C. is at the heart of this battle. Under constant threat from dangerous factions, civilians are trying to rebuild.
So Division 1 took place in New York. This is going to be in D.C. So in your trilogy, where do you end up in the next game? Do you just keep going south down to Florida? You've probably screwed up at that point. They probably screwed up doing DC. You could go to Boston. I mean, the Boston Tea Party and stuff like that. Historic, one of the 13 colony places. But I don't know what else you do. You maybe at the end of this game the United States really does fall apart and you end up fighting as the Division in a different country, which certainly you could go to London, UK, Canada, Mexico, maybe. Like, the problem is you get away from the idea of the Division being this secret force of fighters designed to defend the United States in a time of emergency, into just a group of people who survived a catastrophe. But even this game seems like it's done that, and now you're closer to a Walking Dead post-apocalypse scenario than you were something that felt like you could maybe pull back and restore America. Or restore the United States. I guess you kind of need to be in a somewhat urban environment. You want it to be buildings, otherwise it gets too far away from the game concept.
Keep moving.
I didn't do anything.
So you could...
Quiet, you. I said no more talking. The rules are not subject to negotiation. Shut up!
Defy the rules, and there will be consequences.
Let's go. Come on.
Examples will be made.
On your knees. Keep still.
So... yeah, I guess you maybe go to Los Angeles. You could go to the East Coast, but I don't know what you do. Yeah, it almost seems like this isn't going to be a trilogy. It seems like, which might be a great idea if games stopped playing towards trilogies. If they wrapped up the Division at Division 2, and then Division 3 is the beginning of a completely different arc.
Are the last line of defense for those civilians and for the country. If you fail, history will be written by tyrants. If you succeed,
Isn't it always?
will remember the few brave heroes who fought to save a dying nation.
So it does
Setting lays the groundwork
fit.
for a
It does sound like
story
they're
of
gonna
campaign
jump
in which
far
your
into the future
actions
for Division
have clear
3,
impact
if they
on the
make
lives
one.
of civilians. In the Division 2, Washington, D.C. must prepare for the greatest threat
And see,
it
the
has
thing about
encountered.
a game called The Division, you would kind of
You and your fellow
want a
agents
double
will need to
entendre there, well, a double meaning, so that you have the Division as a military division, but a division where half of the people in the division go one way philosophically, and one of them and you go the other way.
Of a signature weapon, powerful and unique weapons that complement.
Seems like they're also drastically changing the gameplay style.
With your specializations,
Because
not only grow in power,
the first game was really
but
just
also
a
unlock additional
loot
tools and
game,
abilities,
a loot shooter,
including
first-person shooter,
exclusive versions of skills.
with I think a decent amount of
Specializations
microtransactions.
enable you to truly complete your own personal playstyle, but also to synergize with other players and take team play even further.
Team play,
Speaking of teamwork,
teamwork, aka we're not making content, so we're gonna make you play with your friends, so you have fun. Otherwise, the game won't be fun.
ultimate endgame challenge. Raids are coming to the Division 2.
a mode that
We learned a lot.
probably should have
We
been in
learned
the
a
first
lot
game.
from working on the first game. And with the
The
Division
first
2,
game is such
we're
a
launching with plans for years of
disappointment.
frequent major content
It's,
updates.
I guess they just had
Today,
to make a
we're
sequel
ready to outline
because of the
our
timing
plans
of it. Otherwise, I think they probably would have
We
just
will be launching
not made
3
a sequel.
DLCs in the form of episodes. Each one will bring new story, new areas to explore, and new activities. And the best part, all of these episodes will be completely free for everyone.
Well, that's certainly nice.
Where's my Division team? Stay tuned after the Ubisoft conference for an exclusive 30-minute deep dive into our playable E3 demo during our post-show. As you can
So we've
see,
gone about 30 minutes now. This
getting
might be
ready
the end
right
of the
now,
stream.
and they'll be playing right after the conference is done.
Like, so if this is the stream, they did Just Dance. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is surprising that they had another trailer.
For the future,
Rainbow Six Siege esports tournaments, Trials Rising, and the Division 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the showstopper, and there's nothing else to show. But Ubisoft is a big I wouldn't be surprised. Ubisoft is a big company. They could certainly announce another 20 games. Or new IPs. Or ideas. Like, we've been extremely light on new IPs from any of the press conferences. With the slight exception of Microsoft bringing over indie developers games, and which can't be Microsoft new IPs, and then Microsoft starting new studios, and then also acquiring studios. So while it looks like the next couple of years are going to be full of games, a significant amount of them are also going to be bland, round, boring looking first-person shooters, and the Division 2 is included in that list from what I've seen so far. The Division series, not a single-player story-oriented series, so I'll probably never play it. The whole point of the Division is there. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the screen for a moment. Apologies. I assume this is Raving Rabbids versus Mario.
Hi, I'm Xavier Manzanares, lead producer. And it's an honor to be back here one year after we announced for the first time and released the game. It was incredible. So, as a team, I just wanted to thank all of you for the support and all the feedbacks we received.
Interesting, they're not really showing the video. Instead, they're putting up a band?
So we also started a year ago to work on a brand new adventure, and with a brand new hero as well. One that we
I'm just gonna tease this, so hopefully YouTube's content ID system doesn't work.
We wanted to celebrate the upcoming release of the Donkey Kong Adventure, and what better
Donkey Kong Adventure
than with Grant Kirkhope, our composer, and the band Critical Hits. So please enjoy. Thank you.
So I may actually have to mute this let's see. Audio's not as big of a deal as audio visual.
Changes every day, every second to change.
Somebody's talking in the background and we can hear him. The guy's still mic'd. And he's like, he was talking about they changed the entrance. They changed it every day. So is this Mario Rabbids or is this Donkey Kong Adventure? And I'm not sure if that's actually the name of it. Take a moment while this is just music playing. I'm gonna check the schedule. Yeah, that won't work that way. Oh, check it. What would be the next thing after Ubisoft anyways? I'll just look that up too. So take a look at this and just see, you have live music that is part of a trailer and advertisement, so this really shouldn't be copyright claimed. If they were to do a new recording of this and sell it as a solo, I could kind of see maybe that. And then we have visuals that are happening in the background, but you're not seeing any of it, and you have the band in front of it. So the only way this whatsoever, on top of the hype train going across the screen and the text taking up most of the right half of the screen, the only way this could get content claimed is if Nintendo in particular is intentionally putting this exact footage from this exact press conference into the Content ID system to claim it, which is a direct, active attempt to claim something they wouldn't own, because this is Ubisoft's press conference. If anybody owned a copyright on this, it'd be Ubisoft's trailers, Ubisoft's footage, and Ubisoft's conference, and Ubisoft is licensing the Nintendo characters legally from Nintendo. So Ubisoft should be putting in any Content ID claim, if anybody. So it's Mario X Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Donkey Kong Adventure. So is that Kingdom Battle, second line, Donkey Kong Adventure, double colons. I'll get rid of the first one. And see, now it seems like they've screwed up something. Alright. So hopefully that did enough to not get this entire stream Content ID'd by unethical Nintendo of Japan.
It was over. The old guard was wiped out. Those who kneeled were now at the gates of hell.
This is new.
Killing us off.
One of the few new things I've seen.
We thought there was no way the Empire could win this game.
This isn't Sea of Thieves. This has got to be Skull and Bones.
A new wind was at our backs, blowing us straight to heaven.
And this trailer looks good, but I don't know if the gameplay looks anything like this.
First come, first serve. It was dog eat dog. We became kings, queens, lords, and masters of our own new worlds. Fortunes poured down on us. They had their empire. Now it was our turn. Enemies became friends. Friends became enemies. The best didn't trust anybody. The philosophy of the day was more and more.
I guess the next thing is going to be the PC gaming show. And I guess I'll watch that just because. It's gonna kill some time in between the now and the Sony press conference.
We were wolves.
This looks very, very pretty, but it is all just a cutscene. Yep. So I'd like more information about the actual game.
Of Skull and Bones, there are soulless empires.
Like his mic to be turned
there are
on.
greedy trading companies, and of course, ruthless pirate games sailing the seas. But there are no heroes.
Well, at least they didn't stop at the 30-minute mark.
Singapore. And for the past year, my team and I have been anxiously awaiting this moment to invite you, our fans, to join the hunt here at E3 2018. Piracy is dead.
Is their office in Singapore just so that they can underpay the employees? Probably.
The Indian Ocean, home to the richest trade routes in the world, where merchant ships carry cargo worth over $10 billion a year. And you're gonna steal every last fucking coin.
Like, anytime anybody cusses, it feels scripted and out of place. Like, I wouldn't mind if there was a guy who was known to cuss a lot, to get on stage and cuss a lot. But since I don't really know these developers and they're just throwing in one cuss word, it's, you know, it's just scripted.
Presented to you by Taljeed, the fortune teller. Now, fortunes reveal changes in factions, weather, and the trade routes themselves. Today, Taljeed reveals favorable winds. That means more merchants to rob, but also more competition. And now I'm proud to share with you the essence.
This
of
almost feels like
a shared world
that
where every player
card
encounter
game,
matters. Will you fight?
Hand of Fate.
This is what we call the hunting grounds.
Show me some actual gameplay so I have an idea
Let's head to the hideout.
of how this game actually plays.
Your hunt for the convoy starts here, in your hideout, deep within the Chagos Islands.
See, immediately seeing this trailer, this looks like an in-engine cutscene, and it looks
this hidden pirate
way
everything you need for your next
worse than the cutscene did. It's not bad, per se, it's just not, it's too many steps away from what the cutscene looked like.
So, what's it gonna be? Next, choose the right crew and gear for the mission ahead.
See, this almost feels like a strategy
Cannons
game.
are slow loading, but deadly at short range. Rockets are blazing
And it
fast.
doesn't seem like
Deal
there's
powerful damage from every
too
angle.
many variants of things. So this game doesn't feel like it's gonna go forever.
The winds are strong and the day is clear. That means more merchants to rob, but also more rival pirates out looking for a quick
Like
score.
that was barely a handful
The
of
convoy set across the
upgrades.
Portuguese fort, taking advantage of the strong winds.
There she is, with our loot!
That fort
So-
is too strong to simply sail past. Its cannons can blast you out of the water. You need to find a way to sneak by before the convoy slips away.
Exciting, Captain!
Unfortunately, deception is another tool in the pirate's arsenal.
Let's fool these blackguards.
Disguised as a Portuguese merchant, you try to creep past the fort.
Captain, if we engage, they will see it through our guise.
So I'm not sure if this is the game with multiple players and like one person has to be the captain sailing and one person has to be in the crow's nest spotting.
You want to catch your victim off guard.
I think it very well might be. If it isn't, it doesn't really change too much, because then if this is a single player and you are in this cutscenes shifting between each of these characters as like a hotkey button, which it kind of does look like somebody is just going through the 1 through 5 keys, 1 through 6 keys on the top of the keyboard, which how you play this on a controller, if you can play this on a controller, I have no idea. So it does kind of feel like it's a single player game where you're controlling everything, but you have to shift between each character to control things, which that just doesn't seem like it's a good system. And apparently once you get on there, you just automatically see a cutscene and get loot. And so it's supposed to be this gameplay mechanic of naval engagements, but either this game is going to be rather short, and you're going to do maybe 10 or 20 battles, and then you'll have enough money to upgrade your ship, and then you upgrade your ship maybe 7 or 8 times, and then at that point you're going to
other captains have answered your call. 4 against 1 should even the odds.
So the online component seems like everybody gets their own ship.
Squadron using a coordinated battle plan.
The problem with this trailer is that it really makes a fatal assumption that people care about naval battles. And this is the year of the pirate is what I dubbed 2018, and because we saw so many pirate games, this one included, last year at E3, and we're seeing it again now at E3. Sea of Thieves actually came out at least, and all of that really was just a response to the success of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And since this is a Ubisoft game, they have that engine behind them, but this feels more like a mini game that would be fun for a short time. It doesn't feel like it's a full experience. I don't see how you would want this to be an esport. I don't see how you would want to come back every day and do a daily quest on this. There's a high cost of animation for because people are going to get bored with the styles and the art styles of flags and the ships, and they're going to want new ships designed, probably more ships designed than actually have ever existed, new flags designed probably more than have ever actually existed. So the artists behind Skull and Bones are going to have to constantly try to add content, or more likely they're just going to abandon it after it doesn't break really high numbers.
Among thieves.
So they don't even have a firm point in 2019 that that's supposed to come out, so almost certainly this is going to get pushed again. So I'd say it's probably coming in 2020. And that was another 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't see a game there that I think people want to play. Except for a very niche group. They're doing the footage from behind thing. So this is that game that was announced last year.
Wood, co-founder of Spectrovision. Though we're known for our film content, we're also avid gamers, and the opportunity to partner with Ubisoft was something we had to be a part of.
And my name is Benoit Richer, game director on Transference.
Isn't he also the... Is this a different famous person?
With interactivity of video games, enabling us to create this unique,
different famous actor
with a dark and unsettling narrative.
Partnering with Ubisoft?
Have you ever dreamed of entering someone else's consciousness? Exploring their darkest thoughts and most intimate secrets?
It's
in Transference,
not unheard of.
We're bringing With Transference, we're bringing a first-person exploration game into a chilling new dimension.
To escape, you must go hands-on to search for clues, solve puzzles while shifting between the perspectives of
you would think an actor would be able to do a speech on the first try, but I guess that is not really necessary.
We welcome you to uncover the secrets hiding in this
there's been quite a trend of movie and TV production companies starting video game companies. Bad Robot recently got help from Tencent to start their own video game production company. It's for the most part just a way of them...
You're gonna see here real soon, okay?
Well, partly I imagine it's to do Hollywood accounting so they can waste money so they don't have to pay residuals to the actors. I bet it also is significantly an honest attempt at advertising. The one thing I would say is at least Eli Wood's
all you have to do is just be.
At least for Transference, this is a original game that doesn't seem like it's based on any movie that's coming out.
You should go to sleep. You've seen how rotten that's gotten, huh? But all that is going to change. We're all going to be together. All of our hard work, reverse the process. All of our sacrifices. That's my gift to you. To us.
Help me! Help me! Please!
So this is a horror movie.
Why are you doing this?
I love you, son. I love you with all of my heart.
There's a lot of horror movies that could have been roughly based on.
I have waited so long for this.
This can't be No Man's Sky, can it?
Sacrifice the world of Atlas to the harvest.
What are we waiting for? Let's get out there.
Is this game called Atlas? Is this the one that had a Toys to Life element? I think this was where you had a like RFID Toys to Life toy that shipped.
There aren't enough of us. We need to find help from every planet in Atlas.
I'm just gonna type in Atlas as the name. This is very bright and colorful. They probably are going to get a little lucky here because this is more like Fortnite and not a brown, bland looking first-person shooter. Yep, Toys to Life.
Drax isn't going to stop until we end this.
Toys to Life on a PlayStation controller.
will finish this.
Which, or some kind of controller? Like, I assume it's an RFID and not some kind of other way. It's Starlink. Not to be confused with Starfield by Bethesda.
Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Laurent Melville, Creative Director on Starlink Battle for Atlas. Last year, revealed our modular starship innovation to the world and showed you how players could reconfigure it instantly to adapt to any challenge. This year, we're excited to show you
they're doubling down on that bad idea
and put the game directly into your hands.
They should have rushed it out, removed the Toys to Life element, and saved themselves some time. They are in such a terrible position considering Toys R Us is bankrupt, so there's no toy stores that would even buy this and sell it other than maybe GameStop. All the Toys to Life games have not been super successful. Lego Dimensions, Skylanders, Disney Infinity. Lego Dimensions is not getting any new content. Disney Infinity's servers are shut down, and it's pretty much an unplayable game except for the single player content. Skylanders, I think for the most part, you'd have trouble finding many of the Skylanders toys.
Can you hear me?
They should have rushed this out as soon as Fortnite became big. If this was out right now without the Toys to Life element, that'd be great. It's not even too bad if it's out right now with the Toys to Life element.
Let's rock and roll, boys.
Okay. So apparently now Nintendo's not even making its own Nintendo games, and instead it's Ubisoft making a Star Fox game. And this looks like a actual Star Fox game, not a Star Fox Racer game, which the rumor was. So, wait a minute. Is this... I may have to go down again for another Nintendo thing.
Hello everyone! It is an honor to welcome Star Fox in Starlink, Battle for Atlas.
Okay.
Isn't it, Laurent?
And the video broke.
I wanted to invite Fox
Not
and
my
his crew
fault.
into the game. And Star Fox on Super Nintendo was the first 3D game I've ever played.
That would be really weird if they were making the new Star Fox
is a
game.
dream come true.
Like,
And this dream was only made possible thanks to our long relationship with Nintendo. We can't wait to play Fox on the Nintendo Switch. I would like to give a special thanks
I
to a
guess
dear friend with us in the audience.
the indication here is that
Ladies and gentlemen,
Starlink
Miyamoto.
is only probably going to be on the Nintendo Switch. That's my guess.
Hello, how are you?
Here's a question. Is Miyamoto, he's I think about 65? Can he make it up the stairs? Or is he just going to stand up and bow and wave and that's it?
So I know you were coming today, so I came with a gift. You know, it's the first prototype of the vessel that we such saw. Do you like it? Super. So thank you very much. So it is actually a vessel that has been created by the team, and they would be so happy to see you backstage. So let's go and join them. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you probably have to have a celebrity leave via the backstage and never regain their seat. or at least not sit down or regain their seat on camera.
Thank you, Mr. Miyamoto, and thank you, Eve. For everyone at E3,
They don't care about him. They
be
left.
sure to come by the Ubisoft booth, where we'll have a full hands-on demo for you to try. For everyone else, Starlink will launch on all consoles on October 16th with Star Fox as an exclusive Nintendo Switch experience.
Star Fox on Switch.
Thank you. Thank you so
So
much.
that's Xbox One.
Check out starlinkgame.com to pre-order the game right after the
PS4.
conference. Thank you so much for being here today,
And-
and have a great E3.
Well, they said all consoles, so it might be Xbox 360. Oh, I'm just gonna type in all consoles since I'm not sure how it means right now. Is it coming to the Vita? I guess they have to talk about For Honor, the biggest failure, I would say, probably for the entire year, last 12 months at least, has to be For Honor.
Cosplayers, artists, tournament organizers, and all of our players, you are For Honor. Indeed. Hello, I'm Roman Campos-Oyola, Creative Director. Whether it be upgraded stability with the dedicated servers, release of heroes,
I'm just gonna
constant
type in
balancing,
For
and new training
Honor
tools,
right
we would not
now
be here
on Steam,
without
and let's
your
just
passion and
see
commitment.
what it says.
You've helped us
For Honor
enrich the experience.
is mixed reviews.
Thank you.
59% positive of the last 1,045 reviews in the last 30 days. It's overall mixed reviews of
In celebration of E3,
26,000
we are
plus
inviting new
reviews.
players to join.
It's
So, if you haven't played For
starter
Honor yet,
edition is $15.
now is your chance. Starting today and until next Monday, we are giving away the PC Starter Edition on Uplay. Download it this week on PC, and it's yours for free.
So, but then you have to play it through Uplay. The standard edition of this game is $59.99. The deluxe edition is $69.99. The gold edition is $99.99, and you can get some kind of bundle with the Steam controller and the $60 version, I guess. Let's see. I'm looking for the Steam database plugin that I have. The all-time peak of people who have played For Honor was 45,944 people. The peak today was 3,681 people, and for an online-only game. It says it as single player, it really doesn't, as far as I understand it. Online right now is 2,671 people, and this came out February 13th, 2017. Really? Has it been over a year? So, if its all-time peak is now, I guess, a year and a half, or almost a year and a half later, it's down to less than 7% of its all-time peak. And nearly 28,000 people out of the 45,000 all-time peak of people that were playing at one time bothered to review this game and gave it mixed reviews of 50.33%. Like, I have no special love or hate for any for Honor, but it was over advertised and overhyped, and I'm sure they lost a lot of money.
Failed to establish order. Amid the chaos,
but I guess they have to talk about it. It's a bad concept. The sword fighting against multiplayers is just not good. It's never going to be good, sword play against online people. Maybe if you had a VR only game doing sword play, that maybe that makes sense.
Multiplayer mode fulfilling the classic medieval fantasy. You know what it is? The Castle Siege. So please allow me to introduce you to this new mode, Breach.
A new Breach mode. Oh. Breach mode. And I really have to point out, I have not bothered to mention any other game that's failed or that was announced or that looked terrible, or really even go into depth on any of the games on the trailers. For Honor is going to be one of the games that go into the history books as far as how not to advertise a game, how not to develop a game, how not to take a concept that's a bad concept and turn it into $1 million, if not $1 billion loss. I don't think they spent $1 billion on it, but they probably spent millions and millions on advertising and developing For Honor. Meanwhile, if you just tested the market a little bit and done something like a cheap Fortnite type game, because that's really what this is it's kind of a battle royale type game, and where you're fighting with swords. If you'd made Fortnite with swords only and tested the waters that way, you probably would have spent a lot less money on it and polishing it, making it look like a AAA game, all the while not even knowing if there was going to be an audience there, which there wasn't. How can we be just at the crew too?
Brand director on the crew too.
Why is their presentation so full of trouble? By the way, they definitely need to fire whoever's in charge of doing this presentation. Like the audio guy failed to mute a guy when he walked off the stage. They cut video feed. There's waters that way. You probably would have spent a lot less money on it and polishing it, making it look like a AAA game, all the while not even knowing if there was going to be an audience there, which there wasn't. How can we be just at the crew too?
Brand director on the crew too.
Why is their presentation so full of trouble? By the way, they definitely need to fire whoever's in charge of doing this presentation. Like the audio guy failed to mute a guy when he walked off the stage. They cut video feed. There's been a couple of incidences in which they seemingly have been unable to show the footage that's on the screens. Seems like the people who are putting the video on the screens are the only people that are actually getting it to work. And I imagine these screens are projection screens, not like a LCDs or something. Because I'd want as much detail as possible. And I wouldn't be surprised if the screens behind them are rear projection 4K, 8K cinematic projectors. And see, the thing I hear all the time about trying to present at a convention is that the connections and the video stuff works perfectly fine for the people, the union workers there at the convention center, but the second you try to do a simple thing like plug in a laptop, all of a sudden it doesn't work.
Our son, go.
But this would be a Spartan, wouldn't it?
Where we begin does not define who we will become.
Yeah, this is a Spartan.
Before you, I see a path. Built by friendship and family.
So there's a question whether this is a full game and they're going back on their word and going back to annual releases on Assassin's Creed full games, or whether this is some kind of secondary side game.
By the gods to protect this world.
And right now we're not seeing.
You carry the blade of Leonidas. Act like it.
So it looks like he might have a piece of Eden blade instead of a hidden blade.
Your odyssey across the mountains and the seas. Remember, the fate of Greece journeys with you.
Apparently, every mythological Greek story is going to have a statue. See, I have to spell that Y-S-S-E-Y. So what's this game?
I'm Jonathan Dumont, Creative Director of Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Every single one of these has a...
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is more than just an adventure. It truly is a role-playing journey. You will explore on land
everything has a
and
hashtag.
sea one of the most iconic
So they can see how hyped people are and how many people are using the hashtag.
The golden age of Athens saw the rise of democracy, modern medicine, revolutionary art, and Western philosophy. But it was also a time of war. A devastating conflict between Sparta and Athens, the Peloponnesian War, divided the Greek world and changed the course of history. In this world of contrast and opportunity, this land shaped by the gods rages a battle between order and chaos. This is where your adventure begins. You, a simple mercenary, an outcast, to take on an incredible quest to save your loved ones and become the legendary Greek hero Greece desperately needs. Our teams in Quebec and from around the world have spent the last 3 years putting all their energy, passion, and dedication into this project. We have continued to transform Assassin's Creed into an epic RPG experience.
Sounds like there's some music playing in the
In
background.
which you will not just play an Odyssey, but your Odyssey.
So it's saying it's an RPG, but
And the first choice you'll make
so
at the
what?
start of the game
The
is to
Assassin's
choose your
Creed
character.
Origins is
Alexios or Cassandra.
okay. Well, then how does that cutscene where he's dropping a child, does the cutscene change and he's dropping a female child? I guess that's how that plays. Historically inaccurate, but nobody cares about that
You
in...
need a spear. You're old enough now. My father's spear
that doesn't really matter in the Assassin's Creed series.
You're ready. Think of Leonidas. He had great courage, and he made a great sacrifice. You share in his blood and the strength he possessed.
The broken spear of Leonidas gives you access to powerful range, combat, and stealth abilities that you can unleash on your enemies.
Did you really need to cut away from the footage to say that? Why not have that same guy say that in the video? I guess they decided that needed to be said at the last second. I guess I have to wonder, did I really care about the Hidden Blade kills from the original stretch of Assassin's Creed games?
Like never before.
Perhaps when I was thinner, both in weight and philosophy.
Of course, if they're going to add another educational version to this game, they'll have to put seashells over all the naked statues again.
You thought the life of a thief and a murderer was worth more than that
nobody
of
really complained too much about that, since it was an educational version.
Him, to be honest. And what of the rebels?
Seems a little weird if you put it in the perspective of showing that to a high schooler, but it also kind of makes sense if you're showing it to a 5-year-old in kindergartner or something.
Our choices are like ripples on water.
Although in general, I don't think the educational version was worth the effort. I don't think you're gonna have people buying a game called Assassin's Creed
Over the next few days, you
for
can
school
experience this
systems.
for yourself here at E3 in our playable demo. And for you at home, here's a full gameplay sequence of Assassin's
I've
Creed
kind of
Odyssey.
always wanted the Assassin's series to have more varied ways to assassinate somebody, but the game has never really, since the first one, it's never really been about stealthily killing people. It's completely and always devolved into a very generic, just attack somebody with a sword or a gun or a knife or whatever, and kill them in broad daylight, and then set off an alarm and then run away from the guards and the alarm. The thing I liked about Assassin's Creed 1 that never got continued was the fact that you really only had about 9, maybe 12 people that you actually were supposed to kill. Every guard and whatever other character you chose to kill was a secondary target or a means to an end to kill the about 12 Templars in the game. That more and more stopped being the case, and I've recently played Assassin's Creed Revelations, which is the 4th game in the series, and even the Templars are pretty easily just killed by running towards them.
We are a small but fierce group of rebels who'd pay you handsomely to help us overthrow our Athenian
It's kind of amazing how they can sort of pre-render cutscenes and then do a transparency over the custom outfits of the player character, and so they cut out the character the custom characters textures and graphics and put it in a pre-rendered cutscene. Unfortunately, that's not what they're doing in this game. That was an all-engine cutscene, which is easier but more demanding on the GPU and tends to cause issues and weird glitches because things are still happening in the background, or people are paused from moving so they don't walk in front of the camera around you, but then they have a tendency to look funky because of that. Looks like there may have been a little bit of pop in there as you're riding in the horse, texture pop in. So I'm hoping this game runs smoothly, but the Assassin's Creed series is not particularly known for running smoothly. One would assume this is the Origins engine still, with all the benefit and bug fixes that a year of that engine being out would afford. So this should run smoother. The stealth element is completely gone. The hood element seems to be completely gone too. There's no assassin's hood. There's no attempt to particularly blend in. If you're dressing as a Spartan warrior, you're probably not going to blend in unless you are around lots of other Spartan warriors. Yeah, so no hiding, no real stealth. Seems like you can show the...
Spartans have made themselves right at home.
This is a entire, like, assassin's camp, it seems.
I'm looking for Kira.
What do you want with her?
The mercenary who bears the eagle of Zeus. You got my message.
It said something about paying me handsomely.
Mercenaries.
Athenians have enslaved our people for too long. Help us free Mykonos from their grasp, and you'll have more drachmi than you can carry.
I probably am a little bit more familiar with...
I'm here to kill Diocles, not go to war.
Which is
with
why I
Greek.
sent word of our rebellion to you and Sparta.
My men are ferocious in a ground assault, but we're outnumbered.
And
So, like,
Diocles fights with
compared
a
to the
true
Egyptian history, which I'm not sure anybody really has accurate records of Egyptian history that would have been told in Assassin's Creed Origins, and certainly a lot of Assassin's Creed Origins was just straight up fantasy being shown when you're fighting Egyptian gods like Anubis. Here, at least, they have a lot to lean on. Arguably, they might be running out of stuff to lean on, because they've done India, China, and Russia as side games. I think intentionally because they don't want to make a main game set in India, China, or Russia, because I think that they're either afraid of offending those countries or afraid of people not wanting to play in those countries. They've done, I think, all the major time periods in England, the UK. I don't think you're going to have to make up a lot of story, and it's not really going to be too much of a history if you try to do Australia. It's too bloody of a history if you try to do Africa. So apparently they go into rage mode now. South America, maybe. South and Central America, maybe. They've already done the United States Civil War. They could probably try to do, no, not the Civil War, but the Revolutionary War. Civil War, again, would be not a story they would want to touch. That was inherently the problem with the Assassin's Creed series always, is most of history is unpleasant and bloody. So there is a thought that they could do feudal Japan or ancient Japan, and that might, but they didn't really want to do that either, because then it would just feel too much like a Japanese game. So that doesn't really leave anywhere else. It really, really doesn't. They're gonna have to start going in circles and go back to the timelines in the same timeline that we would have expected for Altair or Ezio, probably Ezio. But they've kind of run out of history at this point.
Thanks to everyone watching from home. To our teams, it's an honor to work with some of the best in the world. Congratulations on a great show.
Right, I'm gonna say it's probably a AAA game.
I am an optimistic guy, and I am particularly excited about the future of technology and the positive role games will play in shaping our society. To create these
I'm still
games,
not 100%
we
sure.
need to work even more openly with you, the gamers. Because we know when we do that together, everything gets better. So
well,
have a great history. Thank you
we
very much.
almost got through the entire Ubisoft conference without them virtue signaling and pretending like they care about something other than keeping themselves alive.